I'm Dave Kaiser from CCX Media. Thanks for joining us for this special COVID-19 update. We're talking with State Representative Kristin Robbins. She represents Maple Grove and some of the surrounding communities. Welcome, Kristin. How are you this morning?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Dave.
Thanks for joining us. We've got a couple of topics we wanted to touch on, but first let's talk a little bit about some of the feelings and thoughts you have for your constituents in the area. What would you like to say to them?
I would like to thank my constituents and, all of Minnesotans for all the great work that they've been doing. They have sacrificed so much over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And I just want you to know that we really appreciate it. We hear how hard it is. We understand that this is, a once in 100-year pandemic that we are all going through together. But the resiliency of Minnesotans and how you have stepped up to stay at home, to protect your neighbors, and to also just the fantastic innovation I see in businesses all around the state to keep going. I can't tell you how encouraged we are and that we're here fighting for you. So every day I wake up and I try to think about how we can reopen, how we can get the economy back on track safely. Obviously, we want to protect our fellow citizens, but Minnesotans, you are doing an amazing job, and in my district, I'm so grateful. So thank you.
Let's talk about the recent executive order and what that does mean for jobs and the workforce. And I know you're working on the jobs committee, so you have a great tie-in with that. Give us your feelings about the latest update and what is happening on the job and business front.
Sure. I just had a jobs committee this morning that just ended a bit ago. And, the level of unemployment is shocking. The normal unemployment back in March, the rough amount of Minnesotans on unemployment was 60,000. And right now we're at about 600,000 who have filed. So that increase over a 4 or 5 week period is just daunting. And it also shows the depth of the economic crisis we are facing. The healthcare crisis is real and very serious, but the economic crisis, I think, is going to be on par or worse than what we saw in the 2008 financial crisis. And I just think we have to keep focused on how we can slowly and maybe even less slowly now, because we've made so many great strides over the last month. I think now that Minnesotans have done what they were asked to do, we were said to stay home, close businesses, because we need to make sure that hospital beds are available, ICU beds are available, PPE is available. And we did that as a state, we did that as a community. And now if you go on the Minnesota dashboard and look, the bed capacity is great, the ICU bed capacity is great, the PPE, not only current availability and what's been distributed, but the stockpiles are great. So I think it's time. We've done what we needed to do to protect our healthcare workers and not overwhelm the system. But now it's time to think about how we can reopen the economy so that we can not face such a great long-term recession or possibly depression. Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about your process now. You mentioned you had a jobs committee meeting this morning and you're at your home right now. What is being involved like for you? Are you going to the Capitol? Are you doing meetings at home? My guess is a little bit of both. Is that correct?
Yes, every week it's different. So we do our committees remotely through Zoom. So anyone can tune in. If you go to the House Information website, the committees are hosted live, and we're all there for better or worse, trying to make it work on our home offices. And when we do go to the Capitol, we've been going about once a week lately, but starting this week and on into the end of the session, we will be going Mondays and Thursdays in the House. And whenever we go, I personally think it's very important to try to take my seat. They've limited the number of people who can sit on the House floor, which I understand. So if I'm not able to sit on the House floor on a given day, I'm up in a third floor room in the Capitol building. I try to be as near to the actual floor seat where I hold the place to represent my constituents. I think it's very important. So if I'm up in that third floor room, we're still standing during the pledge and the prayer, and we're still taking our roll call votes and acting like we're on the floor, even though, we're just in an ante room.
Final note we want to touch on this morning, talk a little bit about all the information that is available for your constituents and for residents again in Minnesota. It's tough to kind of stay up with everything, but you're working through a process to help with that, and you have a newsletter process once a week. Tell us about how that works.
Right. So every Friday, and I've done it since I was elected. So every Friday I send out my newsletter, and you can get it through just emailing me. There's a way to find it on the House website, but it's hard. And I try to provide as much information as possible. So I send updated links on unemployment, on the different small business loans that are available, on what's going on with the Department of Education and schools, DNR updates, what's open, what's not. So I try to have all those links available, and you can even look at my previous newsletters as well, because the links are constantly updated. So if I talked about something in a previous newsletter and you just still find that link, you can get the updated information. The state government, I have to say, I feel like they're doing a really good job providing as much information as possible. But even as a legislator who's used to finding things on these websites, it gets complicated and it's hard to find exactly what you're looking for. So I try to simplify that for my constituents and put the most direct links out there for the information that will be useful.
Very good, wonderful service. And again, people are seeing now that email address at the bottom of the screen. Again, that's the easiest way to get a hold of Representative Robbins.
Absolutely.
And to get on that list. Once you get to that email, they'll send you information to get you on the letter for the newsletter update list. Representative Robbins, thank you very much for your service and for your time today. And we hope to talk to you again soon to get another update.
Thanks for having me. I hope everyone takes care and stays well. Thank you.